My friends, I invite you to journey beyond the veil of time and see with the eyes of wisdom. The treasures you seek, the wealth of understanding, the secret to enduring greatness, these are not found in the fleeting trends of today, but in the golden vault of yesterday. The world moves fast, but wisdom is not in speed. It is in depth. The greatest truths do not need reinvention. They need recognition. The principles that built empires, the ideas that shaped civilizations, and the faith that moved mountains are the same today as they were in the beginning. Do not mistake the new for the better, nor assume that the old has lost its power. A tree does not reject its roots to grow taller, it deepens them. Likewise, your life is enriched, not by discarding what has been, but by drawing from it. If you feel lost, return to the foundation. If you seek strength, recall the endurance of those who came before you. If you desire success, walk in the footsteps of those whose legacy outlives them. Nothing is ever truly lost, for consciousness retains all things. The values of honor, faith, and perseverance still echo through time, waiting for you to claim them. Call forth that which is golden, and it shall be yours. Do not let the illusion of modernity deceive you. The gold of yesterday remains the wealth of today, if only you recognize it. Stand firm, honor the past, and let it illuminate your path forward. The past is a treasure chest, filled with riches beyond measure, waiting for those with the vision to recognize its value. Yet, in a world that glorifies the new, many have abandoned the wisdom of the old, mistaking its age for irrelevance. But what is old is not outdated. It is refined. Like gold purified in fire, the truths, lessons, and experiences of the past have been tested by time, and what remains is of the highest worth. Think of the greatest minds in history, the philosophers, the inventors, the leaders who shaped the course of civilization. Did they discard the past to move forward? No. They built upon it. They studied the knowledge that came before them, mastered the principles laid by their predecessors, and only then did they create something new. The new is not separate from the old, it is an extension of it. Every great breakthrough, every monumental achievement, every lasting legacy has its roots in what came before. The moment we forget this truth, we become like a man who seeks to build a house in the air with no foundation beneath him. What is considered old holds power because it has survived. In a world of fleeting trends where ideas rise and fall like waves in the ocean, what endures is what truly matters. There is a reason why the teachings of the ancients still resonate today. There is a reason why the greatest works of art, literature, and philosophy continue to inspire. There is a reason why the principles of integrity, discipline, and faith still hold value, no matter how much the world changes. These are the things that time cannot erase, for they are part of the eternal structure of reality. But only those who seek will find. The treasure chest of the past does not open itself. It waits for those who are willing to dig, to explore, to uncover the gems hidden beneath the dust of time. It waits for those who understand that knowledge is not meant to be discarded, but rediscovered. The man who ignores the past is like a beggar who sits upon a chest of gold, unaware of the wealth beneath him. He looks around, searching for scraps. never realizing that everything he needs has already been given to him, waiting for his recognition. In every ancient story, every tradition, every piece of wisdom passed down through generations, there is a golden thread that connects us to something greater. Those who honor it, who embrace it, who see beyond the illusion of new versus old, unlock a power that others cannot fathom. They walk with the strength of those who came before them, carrying the accumulated wisdom of ages within their minds. They do not struggle to reinvent what has already been perfected. They simply align themselves with it. Consider the greatest teachers, the visionaries, the ones whose influence has shaped the world long after their time on earth. Did they seek to destroy the past? No. They sought to understand it. They knew that within history lies the blueprint for success, the map to mastery, the key to unlocking greatness. And yet, so many today ignore this truth, rushing forward without direction, blind to the wealth that has already been laid at their feet. The man who understands the value of what has come before him walks a different path. He is not swayed by the illusion of progress that discards all that is old. He does not chase after the latest trend, believing it to be superior simply because it is new. Instead, he looks deeper. He asks, what has stood the test of time? What has endured through generations? What has proven itself to be unshakable, unbreakable, undeniable? And it is there that he places his trust. The past is not a weight that holds you back. It is a well of wisdom that propels you forward. It is not something to escape, but something to embrace. The moment you recognize this, your life begins to change. You no longer seek answers in the ever-shifting currents of modernity. Instead, you anchor yourself in the eternal truths that have guided humanity for centuries. You realize that what is old is not to be feared, but to be cherished. For within it lies the key to everything you seek. Gold does not lose its value with time. It does not decay, nor does it become obsolete. It remains as precious today as it was centuries ago. And so it is with the wisdom of the past. It is waiting, unchanged, unspoiled, undiminished, ready to be claimed by those who have the eyes to see. Gold does not rust, nor does it lose its value with time. It remains untarnished, holding its worth no matter how many years pass. So it is with wisdom. What is true, what is tested, and what is proven does not fade into obscurity. It remains, waiting to be recognized by those who understand its worth. The world may change, circumstances may shift, and new technologies may arise, but the fundamental principles that govern life remain unchanged. Those who grasp this truth position themselves on solid ground, while those who ignore it find themselves chasing after illusions. Wisdom is timeless because it is rooted in the nature of reality itself. The principles of patience, discipline, faith, and perseverance are as powerful today as they were 1,000 years ago. The laws of cause and effect, the importance of vision, the necessity of persistence, these are not mere ideas, they are eternal truths. They do not become outdated or irrelevant. They are universal forces that shape the course of life. And those who align with them harness a power that others overlook. Many people today are caught in the illusion of newness. They believe that because something is recent, it must be superior. They assume that progress means replacing the old with the new, discarding what has been rather than building upon it. But history reveals a different story. The greatest minds, the most successful individuals, and the most enduring civilizations did not reject the past. They studied it, learned from it, and applied its lessons. They recognized that what had endured through time was valuable, and they used it as the foundation for their own success. Look at any field of human achievement, whether it be science, philosophy, art, or leadership. The advancements we celebrate today were not created in isolation. They were built upon the discoveries and insights of those who came before. The scientific breakthroughs of modern times are possible because of the foundational knowledge laid centuries ago. The philosophies that shape our world today are extensions of ideas that have stood the test of time. The strategies used by the most successful leaders and entrepreneurs are rooted in age-old principles of vision, persistence, and strategic thinking. The problem arises when people mistake innovation for wisdom. Innovation can create something new, but wisdom ensures that what is created is lasting. Without wisdom, newness is empty, a fleeting distraction that does not endure. A society that forgets this becomes lost in the endless pursuit of novelty, always seeking something different, but never finding something meaningful. Consider the way a seed carries within it the entire blueprint for a tree. It does not need to reinvent itself at every stage. It simply follows the natural laws of growth, growing from the soil, the sun, and the nutrients that have sustained life for centuries. In the same way, human progress is not a process of discarding what has come before, but of building upon it. The wisdom of the past is the fertile ground from which all new ideas must grow. Those who ignore it find themselves uprooted, struggling to make sense of a world that already has a map for them to follow. Every great advancement in human history has been made possible by those who studied what came before them. The most brilliant scientists, philosophers, and leaders did not reject the knowledge of the past. They sought to understand it, to refine it, and to apply it in new ways. When Isaac Newton said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants," he was acknowledging this truth. He recognized that his discoveries were not made in isolation, but were the result of centuries of accumulated knowledge. The same applies to every aspect of life. The principles that govern success, happiness, and fulfillment have already been discovered. They are not hidden. They are simply ignored by those who believe that wisdom must always come in a new package. Experience is the greatest teacher, but not all lessons must be learned firsthand. The wise understand that they do not need to make every mistake themselves to gain knowledge. They can look to those who have gone before them, those who have walked the path and left behind instructions for those willing to listen. A person who ignores this is like a traveler who refuses to use a map, wandering aimlessly despite having access to the wisdom of those who have already charted the course. Throughout history, societies that honored the wisdom of their elders flourished, while those that discarded it struggled. The elders of a community are not merely old people, they are living libraries, repositories of knowledge that cannot be replaced. Their experiences, their struggles, and their triumphs hold answers that no amount of modern convenience can replicate. But today, many reject the idea that the old have anything to teach, believing that youth alone holds the key to the future. This is a mistake. Youth has energy, but age has understanding. The two must work together. A generation that disregards the lessons of its predecessors is doomed to repeat the same mistakes, while one that embraces them moves forward with clarity and strength. The old ways, the ancient teachings, the traditions that have lasted, these are not relics of a bygone era. They are the distilled essence of human experience. They exist because they have worked, because they have been tested through time and found to be true. Whether it is the principles of hard work, the power of faith, the discipline of self-mastery, or the value of patience, these truths are not new, but they are often forgotten. Those who embrace them gain access to an inexhaustible well of power. There is a reason why certain books, philosophies, and teachings remain relevant centuries after they were written. It is not because they are simply old, but because they contain something eternal. The words of ancient thinkers, the wisdom passed down from generation to generation, continue to resonate because they speak to something deeper than the fleeting concerns of the present moment. Truth is not bound by time. What was true 1,000 years ago remains true today. The only difference is whether or not we choose to listen. A person who understands this does not discard the old in favor of the new, nor do they reject innovation in favor of tradition. Instead, they seek to balance the two, using the wisdom of the past as a guide for the future. They recognize that the greatest achievements are not made by starting from nothing, but by refining what already exists. They do not rush to abandon old methods simply because something new has appeared. They test, they compare, and they recognize the enduring value of what has already been proven. The seed of experience is the greatest source of wisdom. It contains within it the lessons of those who have struggled, the insights of those who have triumphed, and the guidance of those who have walked before us. To ignore it is to cut ourselves off from the greatest resource available to us. But to embrace it, to study it, to apply it, and to build upon it is to unlock a power greater than any fleeting trend. What is old is not obsolete. What is old is gold. Every great achievement is rooted in something older. Nothing truly valuable appears out of thin air. It is always built upon a foundation, often one that is invisible to the untrained eye. A towering tree does not stand alone. It is supported by an intricate network of roots beneath the surface, drawing strength from the depths of the earth. In the same way, the innovations, successes, and advancements we see today are not independent of the past. They are deeply intertwined with it. Yet many people fail to recognize this truth. They see only the surface of things, assuming that what is new has emerged without any connection to what came before. They chase after the latest trend, believing that progress means severing ties with the past. But progress is not the rejection of history. It is the evolution of it. It is the refinement of what has already been established, the building upon foundations laid by those who came before. When this is understood, a person gains clarity, realizing that true success is not about starting from nothing, but about recognizing the strength of what already exists. Look at any great structure, whether physical or intellectual. A magnificent cathedral does not begin with the spires reaching toward the heavens. It begins with the laying of stone upon stone, each layer supported by the one beneath it. A groundbreaking scientific discovery does not emerge in isolation. It is the result of years, sometimes centuries, of accumulated knowledge. The most transformative philosophies and teachings are not random thoughts that appear suddenly. They are the culmination of wisdom passed down through generations. The foundation is always there. even if it is not immediately visible. The problem arises when people become blind to the foundations upon which they stand. They take for granted the wisdom, sacrifices, and experiences that have paved the way for them. They assume that because they are experiencing something new, it must be entirely disconnected from the past. This illusion leads to arrogance, where individuals and even entire societies believe that they are self-sufficient, forgetting that everything they have was made possible by what came before. A person who understands the power of the invisible foundation sees the world differently. They do not disregard tradition, history, or the lessons of the past. They honor them. They seek to understand how things have come to be, recognizing that in doing so, they gain insight into how to move forward. They do not discard the old in favor of the new, nor do they cling to the past in fear of change. Instead, they learn to see the past as a source of strength, using it to guide their actions in the present and shape the future. Consider the greatest minds in history: scientists, philosophers, inventors, leaders. None of them operated in isolation. They studied the works of those who came before them, absorbing the knowledge that had already been discovered, and then used it to push the boundaries further. A scientist does not reject the theories of the past simply because they are old. They test them, refine them, and build upon them. A wise leader does not dismiss the principles of governance that have worked for centuries. They seek to understand why they have endured and how they can be adapted to present circumstances. The true genius is not the one who believes they are the first to discover something, but the one who recognizes the deep roots of knowledge and learns to draw strength from them. Even in personal growth, this principle holds true. A person who seeks success, fulfillment, or wisdom does not need to reinvent everything from scratch. The answers already exist, embedded in the stories of those who have lived before, in the teachings that have stood the test of time, and in the principles that have been proven again and again. The struggle is not in creating something entirely new, but in learning to recognize and apply what has already been given. The invisible foundation is present in every aspect of life. It exists in the morals and values that shape society, in the lessons passed down from generation to generation, in the traditions that continue to provide guidance even in changing times. It is a source of strength for those who acknowledge it, and a stumbling block for those who ignore it. The wise do not reject the past. They see it as a reservoir of power, understanding that the future is only as strong as the foundation upon which it is built. To see beyond the surface is to recognize the deeper structure of life. The greatest achievements are not accidents. They are the result of countless layers of knowledge, effort, and experience. A building without a foundation will crumble. A tree without roots will wither. A life without a connection to history will lack direction. Those who succeed are those who learn to stand firmly on what has already been established, using it as a launching pad to reach even greater heights. Gold does not appear overnight. It is formed deep within the earth, refined through pressure and time. Likewise, the most valuable wisdom does not emerge suddenly. It is the product of generations, tested and proven, waiting for those who are wise enough to claim it. The foundation is there, always present, always strong. The question is not whether it exists, but whether we have the vision to recognize it and the wisdom to build upon it. There is an undeniable beauty in things that endure. The old is not merely a relic of the past. It carries within it a quality of permanence, a resilience that cannot be replicated by anything fleeting, In a world where everything moves at an increasingly rapid pace, where trends shift overnight and where the new constantly seeks to replace the old, it is easy to overlook the value of what has stood the test of time. But that which endures possesses a depth, a richness, a substance that cannot be found in things that come and go. It is not merely old, it is proven. It has weathered storms, passed through challenges, and remained standing, a silent testament to its inherent strength. In every aspect of life, from art to philosophy, from relationships to personal growth, it is the things that last that truly matter. A friendship that has endured for decades is not the same as one formed in passing. A book that has been read for centuries holds a power that a momentary bestseller does not. A philosophy that has guided generations carries a depth that no fleeting idea can match. There is a certain energy in things that last, a force that speaks of their intrinsic worth. They are being tested, and they have prevailed. Look at the way nature itself operates. The mountains do not rise and fall overnight. The great trees of the world do not reach their full height in an instant. The rivers that have carved canyons did not do so in a moment, but over countless years. The things that are truly significant are not rushed. They are built, shaped, and refined over time. Their endurance is not an accident. It is the result of an unshakable foundation. The same applies to human endeavors. The wisdom that has lasted across civilizations, the principles that have shaped societies, and the values that have guided lives are not random. They have persisted because they contain something timeless, something that speaks to the very core of what it means to be human. Truth does not fade. What was true 1,000 years ago remains true today. The only difference is whether people recognize it or become distracted by the noise of the present moment. Modern culture is often obsessed with the new, the immediate, the instant. People want quick results, fast answers, and effortless success. But anything that comes easily also fades just as quickly. What is built on a weak foundation cannot last. A house constructed in haste will not withstand the storm. A relationship formed without depth will not survive hardship. A philosophy that has not been tested will not provide real guidance when it is needed most. The wise understand this. They do not chase after everything new simply because it is new. They seek what has endured, knowing that its survival is proof of its strength. They do not discard the old in favor of the latest trend because they recognize that trends are temporary, but truth is eternal. They do not rush the process because they know that real value is built over time. This applies to personal growth as well. A person who truly desires transformation does not look for shortcuts. They do not seek temporary motivation or fleeting inspiration. They build themselves with discipline, consistency, and dedication. They understand that change is not something that happens overnight, but something that is cultivated, shaped, and strengthened with time. A strong character, like anything else of value, is not the result of a single moment, but of a lifetime of choices. Relationships, too, follow this principle. The deepest connections are not formed in an instant. They are built over time, strengthened by shared experiences, tested by difficulties, and reinforced by loyalty. A love that lasts is one that has endured hardships and remained unshaken. A friendship that stands the test of time is one that has proven itself through both joy and struggle. There is a profound beauty in things that remain, in the relationships that withstand change, in the bonds that deepen rather than fade. Even in creativity, this truth holds. The greatest works of art, literature, and music are not those that capture a fleeting moment, but those that speak to something universal, something that does not change. That is why certain paintings still draw people centuries after they were created. That is why certain books continue to be read generation after generation. They are not just old, they are timeless. They hold something deeper, something that does not diminish with age, but only grows richer with time. To embrace what lasts is to step into a realm of stability, depth, and true fulfillment. It is to recognize that not everything valuable is immediate, that not everything worthwhile comes easily, and that the most precious things in life are often those that require patience, effort, and time. In a world that rushes toward the next new thing, it takes wisdom to pause and appreciate what has remained. The old is not outdated, it is refined. It is not irrelevant, it is essential. Gold does not lose its worth with time. It does not decay or fade. If anything, it becomes more precious, more valuable, more sought after. So it is with wisdom, with love, with truth, and with all things that truly matter. What lasts is what is real. What endures is what holds power. And those who recognize this do not waste their energy chasing after what is fleeting, but instead build their lives upon what will stand the test of time. The old is not a burden of the past. It is the gold upon which the future is built. It is the foundation that strengthens, the wisdom that guides, and the truth that endures. In a world that chases after the new, those who understand the power of the old possess an unshakable advantage. They do not discard what has stood the test of time. They embrace it, knowing that its survival is proof of its value. What is fleeting fades, but what is real remains. Strength is not found in what appears overnight, but in what withstands the trials of time. The lessons of history, the depth of true relationships, the power of proven wisdom, these are the things that hold meaning, the things that last. Those who seek lasting success, unshakable character, and deep fulfillment do not follow every passing trend. They build upon the eternal, the tested, the unbreakable. Gold does not lose its value. Neither does truth, neither does wisdom, neither does the strength that comes from honoring what has endured. In the end, it is not the noise of the present that shapes the future, but the depth of what has already been proven. Stand on that foundation. Build upon what is real. Recognize that the old is not just history. It is power, it is wealth, it is gold.